nice, very inquisitive, right? It's horizontal balance line. Same with the hip, right? Where do we start? We start on the buttocks, right? How do we see where we start on the buttocks? What's the widest part of the buttocks, right? If you're measuring a human body, your model has to be wearing a bodysuit, obviously, right? So you can look from the side and see what's the widest part. When you will put your tape around the buttocks, to make it HBL line, horizontal balance line, I would like you to remember that. That's very important, right? When you were copying my pattern, it was back HBL, right? It was right here. Horizontal balance line, what does it stand on? It's horizontal to the floor. I'm not going around seeing what's widest here, just seeing how it should go. No, I make sure it's completely horizontal to the floor. And how I do this, you put your dress form to the lowest possible spot. If you can't, if it doesn't go for the yardstick to go, then you'll just have to use your measuring tape and just climb around, right? But for this one, it worked out. So look at this, what we do. I put my measuring tape and I made my, I see where at the hip, where it hits, right? Where it hits at the hip, right? Like at what point in here, and I go around and I make sure my tape is all around the same way from the tape, right? It needs to have a little adjustment right now, right? It's a little bit higher or lower at different angles, okay? So I would like each of you to get, like, work in pairs and do a little measurements and then get that, adjust to yourself. Don't trust anybody who was before you, right? Adjust, but start from the buttocks. Make sure it's the widest part. Okay, after we do that, you're going to get your, we have measurement charts in here, right? We have personal measurement charts and a form chart, right? I actually made a copy of the personal. I would like you to write down in pencil, and then we will do a couple of corrections. I have some of the measurements in here for our models, and they are so greatly different because models have different shapes and sizes. So I will do a little combination in here, but I would like each of you to experience measuring for the leg, right? Okay, so the first ones, I'm going to give you this copy. Do you mind to grab one and pass around so each of you will have, and we will talk what numbers we're going by? Thanks. And you guys, that's very important. So this year, we're covering flat pattern making, right?
Yeah.
From paper, measuring, doing flat. Next year, you're moving into draping, right? Last year, you did a little combination of both, okay? So during your experimental draping, you will get to experiment with different things, right? Less of a more conceptual approach rather than exactly what would go on a selling floor, right? Okay, so first we're doing our waist, right? And it's always a good idea to put your black styling tape on the waist as well. I can get it out afterwards if some of you wants to place it in here.
Even if it has the white one?
Yes, even if, because white one is very wide. White one is very wide. And when it's very wide, you know what's the biggest mistake students do? Let's do some measurements. Sometimes you do from the bottom of the tape, from the middle, from the top. Measurements are all over the place, right? And when you're trying to stitch your pants to the bodies to create a jumpsuit, oops, things don't match, right? Yeah.
That was my
Oh, okay,
I
yes.
was like all over the tape.
Yes. So it's always good to put the black tape so you stick. You just stick to it,
And
right?
I would forget which one I measured to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you see, you already have that experience. That's why it helps, because this one is very narrow. It's 1/8 of an inch, right? And I always go to the middle just to make sure we don't forget, right? Otherwise, it is easy to forget. Did I go to the bottom? Did I go to the top? But when you go to work for the company, sometimes they use the bottom or the top. You'll just have to stick to it, right? Yes. Plus, dress forms are made differently, right? The dress forms are no dress companies, PGM or Wolf, they are not alike, different companies, right? Okay, so first we need measurement number 2. I'm not going to be measuring, giving you measurements. I would like you to experience and work in pairs, okay? Waist, for the waist, look at this. If I'll put my tape like this, look at this, what's happening in here. It starts, well, this one is actually quite good, but usually when you put a waist, what's going to start happening, this will start going like out, right? So I always recommend for the waist to put your numbers upside down, just for the waist, okay? So when you would put for the upside down, so you just look at the bottom and it's, you see how this one is slightly out, but this one is flash, right? That you're looking at the bottom, okay? Yeah, this form is pretty large. So I want you to put with a pencil in there. I want you to get the experience of measuring, and then we'll do certain adjustments in there, okay? What we're going to do. Okay, she has 37, our model's much smaller than this. Okay, waist. Then I would like you to do measurement number 4. We don't need abdomen. Hip. I would like you to do hip. When you do measuring the hip, always end your tape. Like when you measure the bust, you don't measure in the middle of air, right? Like in between the bust or like in between her buttocks, right? Where it's like air, right? Make sure it's like flat where the tapes come together, okay? So that would be hip. Waist arc, we need waist arc. So waist arc is from the center, from the center to the dart. From the center to the dart, okay? And what's the other big rule we use? What side of the form? The right side of the form, okay? We usually go by the right side of the form, okay? But I would like you to measure both and see there's a huge discrepancy. Some forms are made not well, and there's a huge discrepancy in between. Then let's say if you're doing this and you have 2 7/8, and the other one is 3 3.5, it's a huge problem. Unfortunately, some dress forms are made that poorly. Say it, please.
Oh, I just want, out of curiosity, like one of the sizes of the models
This-
compared to the,
Oh, our models are like from the store sizes are 2-4.
no, the ones we use for the show.
Yeah, 2-4. They're little. Yeah, but they're all over. I will show you some of the measurements that different. It's like, oops, okay. Like the length especially. And some models have very long torso, some have opposite, short torso, long legs. I know mine is laughing, right? We all know that, but it is. So we will just do our average, and even when we're going to do our fittings, we have to give room, because if you don't give room, you don't know who your model is going to be, right? So we just have to be adjustable in here, okay? Okay. Waist arc, dart placement, so it's the same as your waist arc in here. Hip arc, you will do the same thing for the front and back. You will do from the seam, right, to the seam on the side. Same for the back, right? Same for the back. You will go from the center all the way to the side. Hip arc, okay? Honey, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Next one is a very interesting one. Crotch depth. Crotch depth. Crotch depth gives us the depth of your rise on your pant, right? And that's how we distinguish. Is it a low rise? Is it a middle, right? Is it, what is this? The rise. How do we distinguish the rise? Very interesting. We stick our ruler right into the crotch, right? And put this one to the abdomen, right? And we measure from this top of the ruler to the middle of your waist, right? To the middle of your waist. So you will take this one, you will take this one, and you will go from the top of the ruler to the middle of the waist. Okay, let me turn around.
Anna,
From here to here.
how do you do that on a person?
I am going to show it to you in a second. All right.
She's like, I don't want to do this. And I was like, it's okay.
All right.
just
Okay.
I'm just like,
Okay, so you go from the top to the middle of the waist, correct? Okay, how do we do this on a person so we don't put anybody in an uncomfortable place, right? Let's do it. No, just kidding. Just a little humor. A little humor, Alex, right? Okay. We have, oh, you can sit.
What
You
if
can
you just, like,
actually
there's
right
the one after
here with your side like this. So look at this. Pretend this is your model in her bodysuit
Okay.
with the waist at her waist, right? So look at this. I'm going to put my bottom of the ruler right to the chair, and I will see where her tape ends. That's exactly the same measurement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's her.
Oh,
butt.
someone else.
Thank you.
Oh,
I appreciate this. I appreciate it.
That's good.
Yeah, okay. Nice, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
exactly what that means. It's where your crotch meets the chair, right? So this is, you know, our pattern of the pant, right? It goes like this and this gives you the curve. It's
Yeah.
before that hook, right? That's where you sit, before the hook where it goes around your crotch area, right? You guys get used to this language.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing swimsuits next semester, right? This is like medical department. Okay. Okay. No, just kidding. And because this is not medical department, next semester I'll be fighting you on using the word breast. This is not breast, this is bust for us, right? Breast and medical department, right? This is bust for us, right? Yes. So, okay, so crotch depth. Now, hip depth is, hip depth we have for the center front and center back, and hip depth. That's what's important for us. From your waist tape, right, through the middle, you will measure at the center front, right? And you will do the same thing at the center back. This is your hip depth. Next one you have to do is 26 side hip depth. Okay? So that one will be for here, for the side. Okay? That will be for the side. And waist to ankle, right? From waist to right to the bottom of the dress form. That's our ankle. Then, of course, if it's a model, you do waist to floor, right? And then another one that's important for us.
From waist to ankle, is the measuring tape gonna be like on body?
On body, on the side.
Not like just hanging down?
No, on the body, right? From here all the way to the ankle, up on the body, yes. And the last one you get in here, crotch length. Crotch length is, and that will be the same on the person. You're not sticking any rulers, but you are sticking a tape, right? Right from here to the middle of your waist, like that.
Got it.
There's no way around it.
When
Okay?
you say middle, so do we do it on the
Wait, what?
middle?
Like
of-
from the middle of the tape in here. Okay?
And that's how we measure person too?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so after you do all the measurements, I know some of you still finishing up your sample, so the ones that finish, I would like you to do that, but I would like you to kind of like make sure this one is in the right area. Okay, find the widest spot. Okay, don't go anywhere, please. Then put this in pencil, the measurements that we spoke about, and after that, we are going to correct some of the measurements before we move to the patterning, okay? To do the patterning, I would like you to find your Armstrong book. It was a requirement for you to buy it last semester. If you don't have it, and Susie's class, Tech 2.
Oh, she never told us
Our
that.
pattern making book?
Yeah, this one.
I think we have
We
one.
had a diff.
You have a different one. You
Right,
probably
yeah.
have like the one Maya has.
It's like hardcover.
Is it like beige? Yeah, hardcover.
Beige, right?
Yeah.
I have that one.
Yes, I'm sorry, this is old edition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I scared Maya for a second today too, right? Yes.
Is the
this-
one that we have fine?
Can I show you, Maya, can I lift yours? Oh, absolutely, yours is newer. Yeah, the only thing, we might have different pages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
have
have
that.
that.
Yeah, that's the one we have.
Good thing. Okay, yeah, and we might just have different pages numbers, okay? And we're going to, there are 4 different type of foundation for the pants. Culotte, right, that looks like a skirt when it's like together. Trousers, slack, and jean. We're not making jeans in here because we're not using stretch fabric in here. Culottes you can do if you're going to have culottes for your design later. But right now we want to have a plain trouser foundation, okay? And from the trouser foundation, if your pants fitted, we can turn that into a slack. Slack is like trouser, just taking ease out. So it's more of a fit around buttocks and just straight leg. Trouser has a little ease in there. But to get to slack, we still have to do trouser. Okay? So we will start with the trouser. You will all be needing the yardstick. I'm going to hook this guy over here too because you do need your L shape. We all remember we don't trust the grids on the paper, right? We trust this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hang it over there. I have my pattern over there. You need to have a long piece because we go from here, just give enough yourself space, like almost like floor length, okay? We all do that. So that will be hanging here for reference.
Are we not copying yours?
No, I want you to do it yourself, your own measurements. Plus those measurements might be off too. The girls just now showing there it's 2003 too. I know that people change, right? The models change, but we're doing something a little bit more towards our models, right? That one probably to the dress font. Okay, so I want you to get experience measure, just write with a pencil, okay? Just experience. And then we will correct some of them to models and you will see the difference actually. Our models, how they go to this, okay? Okay, so finish up your pants. Whoever finished, you can start, okay? All right.